Jordan Peterson is a highly controversial figure in contemporary discourse, and opinions about him are sharply divided. Some see him as a champion of free speech and individual liberty, while others view him as a harmful figure spreading dangerous ideas. In the following, I will explore the arguments made by critics who believe that Jordan Peterson's influence and ideas can be classified as evil, though this term can be subjective and loaded. This critique will focus on some of the key aspects of Peterson's public persona, his political stances, and the impact of his ideas on certain societal structures. 1. Misleading interpretations of gender and hierarchy. One of the central tenets of Jordan Peterson's beliefs that has drawn significant criticism is his views on gender and hierarchy. Peterson gained widespread recognition for his opposition to Canada's Bill C-16, which added gender identity or expression as a protected class under Canadian human rights law. Peterson argued that the bill would compel speech by forcing people to use specific pronouns when addressing transgender individuals, a stance that has been widely refuted by legal experts. Critics argue that Peterson's emphasis on this issue is not rooted in genuine concern for free speech, but rather in his broader ideological opposition to social justice movements. Peterson frequently frames gender identity as a binary, which critics argue oversimplifies the complexities of human identity. His comments about transgender issues often perpetuate outdated and harmful stereotypes, which some say contributes to a wider climate of intolerance toward gender non-conforming individuals. By promoting the notion that gender is rooted in biology, and not acknowledging the nuances of gender fluidity, Peterson reinforces traditional gender norms and discourages a more inclusive and progressive understanding of human sexuality and identity. His ideological stance on gender also feeds into the so-called culture wars, amplifying division rather than fostering dialogue. In a similar vein, Peterson's frequent references to hierarchies and the natural order of dominance in both animal and human societies have also drawn significant backlash. His belief in the hierarchical nature of society, particularly in terms of traditional gender roles, reinforces the status quo of inequality. Critics argue that Peterson's defense of these structures serves to justify oppressive systems, perpetuating the subjugation of marginalized groups. 2. Traditionalism and anti-progressivism. Jordan Peterson's consistent promotion of traditional values and skepticism toward progressive movements positions him against significant advancements in human rights, equality, and justice. He is frequently associated with right-wing ideology, though he has resisted labeling himself as such. Peterson's focus on individual responsibility, while appealing on the surface, often shifts attention away from systemic injustices that affect disadvantaged groups. This emphasis on individualism can be seen as a deflection from the need for collective action to address inequality and social justice issues. For instance, Peterson's rejection of the modern feminist movement has been one of his most contentious stances. He often describes contemporary feminism as a movement that seeks to destroy traditional values, framing it as a threat to society. Critics argue that Peterson's views on feminism are deeply regressive, as they ignore the ongoing struggles women face in achieving equal rights, access to opportunities, and freedom from violence and discrimination. By framing feminist concerns as a form of victimhood, Peterson dismisses the real and urgent issues that women face today. Additionally, Peterson's critique of political correctness and postmodern neo-Marxism is often framed as a battle to preserve free speech and intellectual diversity. However, many critics argue that his views are more about defending a conservative worldview that seeks to hold on to traditional power structures, particularly in relation to class and race. Rather than embracing a more progressive vision of society, Peterson's rhetoric promotes a return to past hierarchies and social dynamics, which critics view as harmful and divisive. 3. Oversimplification of complex social issues. Jordan Peterson's approach to complex social, political, and psychological issues often involves reducing them to simplistic, binary narratives. His explanations of societal problems, such as inequality, mental health, and social unrest, are often oversimplified and fail to account for the broader historical, cultural, and systemic factors at play. This reductionist approach can be harmful because it leads to an incomplete understanding of the challenges facing marginalized groups.